The Department of World Languages and Cultures at Georgia State University presents Arabic 1001 Grammar. In the first part of this course, we will address singular nouns and adjectives. In this lesson, Lesson 2, we will talk about human singular nouns. This lesson is divided into two sections. The first one will deal with definite nouns, something we will explain in a moment. This lesson has several goals: to learn how to say who, he, and she, also it, because we don't really have an it in Arabic, to learn about a ta'rif, or definiteness of a noun, and to differentiate definite from indefinite, to learn the words for some common types of people, to learn to say this is the in addition to this is a, and to continue to think about the roots and patterns of Arabic words. In the last lesson, we asked the question, ma hadha? What's this? We're going to ask a slightly different question in this lesson, men hadha. Men means who, but it's going to work just like ma for what. We're asking who this, what we mean is who is this? And the answer here is hadha talib. Hadha is of course our word for masculine this. We know this guy is a man, so we say hadha, and talib is what he is, a student. We're saying hadha talib, this student. We're adding in an is a to make it this is a student. Again, Arabic does not have an is or an a. Now let's ask the question, men hadhihi, who's this? We don't have to say hadha here because we know this is a woman, so we use the feminine version of this, hadhihi. And our answer is hadhihi ustadha. The word ustad means professor or teacher. The Spanish word usted comes directly from it. And since she's a woman, we'll add ta marbuta to ustad and make her an ustadha. And again, this professor becomes this is a professor. Let's take a look at this student again. Man hadha, who's this? The answer is hadha talib. This is a student. Now let's look at his female counterpart. We're going to say men hadhihi. Who is this? And the answer is hadhihi taliba. Notice that I've taken the word talib and I've added ta marbuta to it to make it feminine. So this is a female student. Hadhihi taliba. Both of these words share the ta lem ba root because they're effectively the same word. And the ta lem ba root means to request. And in a moment, you're going to discover that this word literally means requester, as in you are a requester of knowledge. Men hadha, who is this? This is famous science fiction writer Harlan Ellison. We're going to say hadha katib. This is a writer. Notice it's not kitab, kaf ta alif ba. This is katib, kaf alif ta ba. This is important, and you need to pay close attention to this. So a kitab is a book. A katib is a writer. They both share the kaf ta ba root for to write. Now let's look at a woman writer. Men hadhihi. We know she's a woman, so we're going to use hadhihi rather than hadha. And our answer is hadhihi katiba. I've just taken the word katib and I've added ta marbuta to denote that she's a woman. So she's a writer as well. They both share the kaf ta ba root, like kitab and maktaba, and we know that this means to write. But now, let's take a look at the pattern rather than the root. The pattern is the rhythm of the word, the combination of vowels and other consonants that take the root of the word and make it into a part of speech. This is a little complicated, but you'll learn it as you go. It's really not that difficult to learn through experience. Man hadha katib. This is a writer. Men dhalik, dhalika talib. That is a student. Now listen to the words katib and talib. They have different roots, but they have the same pattern. They have the same cadence. Katib, talib. First root letter, alif. Second root letter, little hidden kasra. Third root letter. Katib and talib are the same part of speech. Arabic calls what katib and talib have in common a wazn, or pattern. Originally, the word wazn meant a little weight on a balance, but it also came to mean this sort of grammatical pattern. And its name in Arabic is wazn fa'il, the fa'il pattern. Notice that fa'il has the pattern. Katib, talib, fa'il. So wazn fa'il is what comes out in English as the doer pattern, the person or object who performs the action of that root. Kaf, ta, ba is our root for to write, so a katib is a writer. Ta, lem, ba is our root for to request, so a student is a requester. Let's follow the pattern again. Men dhalik, and here we have a worker, and the root for work is ain, mim, lem, and now we're going to call him al-amil, and this means the worker. So we've introduced alif, lem, which are just the names of the letters A and L, as the at the beginning of a word. It connects to the first letter. So al-amil is the worker, not just a worker. This works with feminine people as well. Men tilka, tilka, amila. Or we could just say al-amila, the worker. Notice that amil has the same cadence as katib and talib and fa'il. So yes, it also has the wazn fa'il, the fa'il pattern, which in English is the doer pattern. These are the people who perform work. Ain, mim, lem is the root for manual labor. Let's learn two more people. Men hadha, and the answer is al-walad. Al-walad is the boy. And men hadhihi, hadhihi, al-bint. Al-bint is the girl. So al-walad is the boy, al-bint is the girl. Notice that bint does not end with ta marbuta, but it represents a female person, so it's a feminine noun, and this is going to become important later on. Let's take a look at some of the theory behind this. Nouns denoting humans have a property called aql, or reasoning. This is not important right this second, but will become quite important later on. Singular human nouns behave just like singular non-human nouns. There's no difference. Plurals, however, are much more complicated. We'll deal with that later, starting in Lesson 5. So here are some examples of human nouns. Notice that I put the alif lem before them each time. So al-walida is the mother, ar-rajul is the man, al-amil is the worker, and at-taliba is the student. Let's talk about the property called definiteness, at-ta'rif in Arabic. Words with the definite article alif lam are mu'arraf, or definite. There are three other ways to make a word mu'arraf, none of which we're going to talk about today. Any word with alif lam is mu'arraf, or definite. The use of alif lam is the default in Arabic. When in doubt, use it. If you're talking about something in the abstract or in general, like I like poetry, in English we wouldn't put the on it, but in Arabic we would. So get used to thinking of alif lam as the default. Words that are indefinite are ghair mu'arraf. Ghair means in or un or non, it's a prefix. So let's take a look at the words we've learned in this lesson. Al-ustadh is a professor or teacher. Al-bint is a girl, also a daughter. At-talib, notice I don't say al-talib, and I'll talk about this in the next section. At-talib is a student. Al-amil is a worker, a blue-collar worker, a laborer. Al-katib is a writer. All three of these words, talib, amil, and katib, have the same cadence. In Arabic, we call it a wazn, or pattern. Its name is wazn fa'il, the doer pattern, and that means the person or object who performs the action of the root. And then lastly, two more words. Al-walad is a boy or a son, and al-walid is a parent. It should be very evident to you that walad and walid share the same jidr or root, waw, lam, dal, and you can also tell that al-walid shares the wazn fa'il pattern with talib and amil and katib. Waw, lam, dal means birth, and so the walid is the person who's doing the birth. Well, the mother is at least. And then lastly, we have these three words. Alif lam is our name for the. Typically, we just append it to the beginning of a word. Men is our question word for who. And mu'arraf is the word for grammatically definite. Now go identify some of the people you know with these words and practice putting alif lam for the on them.